Logan Paul was laying on the mat, not performing, not selling a spot. His body was shutting down, and Ishowspeed stood over him and did nothing. Let that sink in for a second. Because what happened at WrestleMania 42 was not just a shocking moment in professional wrestling. It was not just a viral clip. It was not just drama for the internet to chew on for 48 hours before moving on. What happened at WrestleMania 42 was a full, documented, undeniable betrayal, and the consequences of that betrayal are so severe that Logan Paul right now, as you watch this video, is recovering from heart surgery. Surgery on his heart. And Ishowspeed, the man who was supposed to have his back, is out here posting reaction videos like nothing happened. I need you to comment right now. I need you to tell me, is Speed a snake? Or is there something deeper going on here that the mainstream wrestling media is too scared to say out loud? Because by the end of this video, you are going to have an opinion so strong you will not be able to keep it to yourself. And if you know someone who still thinks Speed is innocent in all of this, send them this video. Make them watch it. Because the truth is uglier than anything WWE would ever put on their highlight reel. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to how this partnership even started, because context matters. Logan Paul and Ishowspeed were not just two internet celebrities who happened to show up at a wrestling event. This was a vision. Logan Paul has been building something inside WWE for years. A legitimate in-ring career. Championship gold. Pay-per-view main events. He is not a cameo. He is not a celebrity guest. He is a performer who has put in the work, taken real bumps, and earned his spot with the boys in that locker room. And he brought Speed into that world. He vouched for Speed. He extended his hand and said, come be part of this. Come be part of something bigger than streaming. Come stand beside me when the lights are brightest. That is not a small thing. In the world of professional wrestling, having someone go to bat for you politically, with the company, with the talent, with the entire infrastructure of WWE, that is everything. And Speed took that invitation, shook that hand, and smiled for every camera that pointed at both of them. And then WrestleMania 42 happened. Now here is where I need you to pay close attention, because the sequence of events matters. And I am not going to rush through this. Logan Paul was in the middle of what should have been one of the defining matches of his entire career. The crowd was electric. The stakes were real. And at the moment, the exact moment when everything was on the line, when Logan needed his person in his corner to be exactly where they said they would be, Speed was not there in the way he was supposed to be. The plan, according to multiple sources close to the situation, was a coordinated moment. A moment that had been discussed, rehearsed in concept, and agreed upon by both parties. Speed's role was clear. And Speed deviated from it. Now, before anyone in the comments says it's scripted, I need you to stop. Because yes, professional wrestling involves predetermined outcomes. But the execution of those outcomes involves real human bodies, real physical cooperation, and real consequences when someone breaks from the plan. When you are performing a spot that requires your partner or your ally to be in a specific position and they are not in that position, bodies get hurt. Momentum goes wrong. People take impacts they were never supposed to take. And that is exactly what happened to Logan Paul at WrestleMania 42. The physical sequence that led to Logan's cardiac incident was set in motion by a breakdown in cooperation. A breakdown that has Speed's name written all over it. The medical reports, which have been shared by Logan's team and are not speculation, they are documented, indicate that Logan Paul suffered severe cardiac trauma during or immediately following the events of that match. The kind of trauma that requires surgical intervention. We are talking about a procedure on his actual heart. A man who is in elite physical condition, who trains at a professional level, who is one of the most athletically gifted entertainers on the WWE roster, is now in a hospital bed recovering from heart surgery. And the timeline of how that injury occurred points directly back to the moment Speed went off script. And here is what makes this so infuriating. Here is what makes this so much worse than just a bad night. Ishowspeed has had every opportunity to address this publicly and with accountability. He has had every opportunity to come forward and say, I made a mistake. I was not where I was supposed to be. I am sorry for what happened to my friend. And instead, what has Speed done? He has gone back to streaming. He has gone back to reacting to content. He has posted clips. He has gone live. He has done everything in the world except take responsibility. The silence on this specific topic, from a person who is never silent about anything, is the loudest thing I have ever heard in my career covering this industry. And the fans are starting to notice. Social media is exploding, not just with shock, but with anger. Because people feel like they were sold a friendship. They were sold a brotherhood. The content between Logan Paul and Ishowspeed leading up to WrestleMania 42 was built entirely on the idea that these two were locked in, that they were ride or die, that the connection was real. Fans invested emotionally in that narrative. They cheered for both of them. They showed up. They bought into the vision. And now Logan is in surgery and Speed is living his normal life, and the fans who were sold that story feel lied to. That betrayal is not just Logan's to feel. It belongs to every single person who believed in what these two were supposed to represent. Now I want to address something directly, because I know it is going to come up in the comments. There will be people who say maybe Speed did not know how serious it was. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe he did not understand the consequences of his actions in that moment. And to that I say that is exactly the problem. If you are going to stand beside someone under the brightest lights in professional wrestling, at the biggest event of the year, in front of 70,000 people and a global pay-per-view audience, you do not get to plead ignorance. You do not get to say you did not know. You had one job. You had one role. And the consequences of failing at that role are now being measured in surgical procedures and recovery timelines, and a man's career hanging in genuine uncertainty. Logan Paul's team has not fully disclosed the long-term prognosis. They have confirmed the surgery. They have confirmed the severity. But whether Logan Paul will ever compete again at the level he was competing at before WrestleMania 42, that is a question nobody has answered yet. And that uncertainty is devastating. Not just for Logan, but for WWE, for the fans, and for every person who had a stake in the story that was being built around Logan Paul's future in this company. So where does Speed go from here? That is the real question. Because in the court of public opinion, the verdict is already coming in and it is not looking good for him. The wrestling community has a long memory. The internet has receipts. And the longer Speed stays quiet on this specific issue, the worse it looks. Every day of silence is another day the narrative hardens. Another day the story becomes Speed betrayed Logan, Logan almost died, and Speed said nothing. That is the story being written right now. And the only person who can change it is Speed himself. But here is the thing that nobody is saying, and I am going to say it because this channel is built on telling you what other people will not. There is a version of this story where Speed is not purely a villain. There is a version where Speed panicked. Where the moment was bigger than he was prepared for, where the pressure of WrestleMania, the scale, the stakes, the weight of everything got inside his head and caused him to freeze or deviate in a way that he himself may not fully understand yet. That does not make it okay. That does not erase the consequence. Logan Paul is still in surgery. The injury is still real, but it does complicate the picture. And complicated pictures require conversation. They require people like you, watching this video right now, to weigh in. So here is what I need from you. Drop a comment below. Tell me, do you think Speed deserves forgiveness if he comes forward and owns this? Or is this the kind of thing that cannot be undone? Is the Logan and Speed chapter of this story officially over? And what does WWE do now? Do they quietly distance themselves from Speed, or do they lean into the drama the way only WWE can? Share this video with someone who needs to see it. Because the conversation that needs to happen around WrestleMania 42 is not happening at the level it deserves. The mainstream outlets are tiptoeing. The big channels are waiting to see which way the wind blows. But Ring Rumble 1 does not wait. We bring it to you straight, we bring it to you first, and we stay on this story until every single question has an answer. Logan Paul gave this business everything he had, and WrestleMania 42 may have cost him more than any match should ever cost anyone. That is the story. And we are just getting started.